Oh, Braydon Coburn's ready? So, hey, I didn't even know. Let's do it. I'm calling up his hockey DB here, not like we don't know. Shaunavon, Saskatchewan kid, broke into the NHL, the Atlanta Thrashers, then the Philadelphia Flyers, where he spent a lot of time. But he's been in Tampa Bay since 2014. Shaunavon, Sask, glad you asked. Rider fan joins us today. Stanley Cup champion Braydon Coburn. Has that gotten old yet, Braydon?
I love it. It's got a great ring to it.
Seems to me like you have not stopped celebrating. You were sitting right beside the cup on the way home. This is take me through the last, what's it been, 2 weeks? What's it been like for you, man?
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks. The first week, I got to admit, it was a blur for the most part. Lots of hanging out with the guys, lots of kind of shuffling around and extracurricular drinking and stuff like that, I guess. But it's been fun. And then, this last week, it's kind of back to duty, drop-offs with the kids and youth hockey and all that kind of fun stuff.
Look, I want to get into your love for the Riders and the Saskatchewan thing and something, but what's burning for me, and my brother went to Notre Dame, same class as John Cooper. He said John's always been cool going back to grade 10. Obviously, there's something about Coops and you that clicked. But you've been there since 2014. You've had a front row seat of the ups and downs, Braydon. I mean, there's been a lot of heartache there that I don't think people realize. So what does it feel to finally get to the top of the mountain, given what all you guys have been through there with the Lightning?
Well, we've had a great team for a long time. And just because you have a great team doesn't automatically give you a cup. And, for us as a group, we've kind of had to find a way to win. And we've got to the finals. We got Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then last year was one of those things where you think you're going to take a step after having an unreal regular season, and then kind of get kicked in the teeth. But we kind of found a way, and we learned to win. And you kind of hear about great teams sometimes having to do that, and we were no different. So it was. I think that made that journey, and especially that kind of bubble experience together, even more sweet.
Well, we see young teams that are talented just kind of blow it early on in the playoffs. The Oilers come to mind, for instance. What did you specifically learn, Braydon, in terms of little things? And I'm sorry to but what would you tell a young team that, it's hard climbing that mountain? What did you learn on your way up?
Well, playoffs is, you never know what you're going to get. And, there was lots of games where, you'd face adversity, and I think you just have to welcome that adversity. And for us, I think last year we kind of ran into a little bit of it, and it was kind of the first time all year where things didn't go right for us. And this year we came in with a different mindset. It's definitely mental. It's a mental thing, and playoffs are a one game at a time kind of thing. And for us as a group, we're just mentally stronger than we have been in the past.
Where are you at now? Have you been able to get home? Do you plan to get home? And when I mean home, I mean the 306. What's your off season like right now?
Well, I got 2 kids, and they're in school right now. So we're here in Tampa, and we're kind of just keeping an eye on what's happening with the Canadian border and the quarantine and all that stuff. I know I'd love to get back and see my family, and my wife's from Calgary, and she'd love to see her family as well. But so we're just kind of keeping an eye on things and seeing when the quarantine's going to end, and we can do some traveling and see some people. But at the moment, the kids are in school, so it's we're stuck here.
Seems like a good place to be. And now some viewers have questions for you, Braydon. But first, let me ask you this. As a guy that spent 20 years with the Rough Riders, that made my heart warm to see you wearing that Rider lid, carrying the cup, putting it on the plane. You are very rarely photographed without a Rider hat on, from what I've seen. What do the Saskatchewan Rough Riders mean to you?
I think for me, it's pride in the province. I'm as proud as any guy to be from Saskatchewan. I feel like it's part of my DNA. It's part of who I am. Growing up in Shaunavon and the southwest corner of Saskatchewan, I know, that's for me. That's just that's who I am, and doesn't matter where I go or where I'm living at the time. It's always part of me. So the Riders for me are a symbolism of that.
Have you been able to be to a game in the new stadium, A, and B, obviously you've been to the old place. What memories do you have of there?
Well, I when I was in Notre Dame, we played in the Regina League there, and I got to play a couple games playing for the Hounds football team. So got to play a couple games at Taylor Field. It was very exciting for me, and I haven't been to the new one yet, but I can't wait to go.
Well, here's the amazing thing. NHL Radio asked me last year when the Blues were on their way to their run. They're saying, it looks like the Stanley Cup's going to come back to Saskatchewan. When's the last time it was there? I said, it comes every summer, guys. Last year it was here with Chandler Stevenson. Then it came with 3 guys with the Blues. And now, of course, you're being asked if you're going to be bringing it home. Let me guess, you don't know? What's the answer to that?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure it out. I know the guys are kind of eager to hear an answer, but it's kind of we're on the mercy of what happens with the border, I guess. And I know a lot of the guys. I was talking to a lot of guys that are overseas, and their countries are they're in the same boat. So we're trying to figure it out. It's an unusual year, but kind of crossing my fingers and saying my prayers that we're going to be able to do a proper celebration in Shaunavon. Good
to hear. Well, so yeah, we'll know when you know, I guess. Please let us know. John in Edmonton wants to know, can you ask him about why the NHL's not happy with the celebrations held in Tampa Bay? I'd like to know his take. Did that get down to you, Braydon, that the NHL thought you guys were partying a little too much and too close with fans?
Well, I just kind of read it through the media, but I guess they're encouraging social distancing. That didn't always happen, so I guess we kind of got a little bit of a pee-pee slap, I guess.
Hey, it happens. And I don't think the Lightning were apologizing too much. John in Winnipeg's watching. He says, I'd love to see Braydon in a Winnipeg Jets uniform. It's closer to Riderland, Braydon. What's the immediate future for you, Braydon, and what's your contract situation?
Well, I have another year here in Tampa, so that's the immediate future right now. But in Winnipeg, it could have been. I guess you mentioned at the beginning of the intro there that I was drafted by Atlanta, so I wasn't too far off by playing in Winnipeg one day. But me and my family are super happy here in Tampa right now. But you never know what's going to happen in this business.
It's a great town. And I got to ask you this about that core of players you got there. Braydon Point, obviously, would have had my vote for the Conn Smythe. Pretty hard to go against Hedman. But just with what Braydon's doing, he was kind of rewriting the Lightning history book for overtime winners. You've seen him since he came in. What's he meant to the franchise?
This kid, he just keeps growing, and his trajectory of improvement is unreal. And I think now you're seeing him develop into more of a leader. And he's, this guy is he's just one of those guys you want to be around. He's I don't know how to explain him. It's just a guy. You hear these political candidates down here. He's a guy you want to have a beer with, and that's Pointer. He's just a great leader, unreal hockey player. Just does everything right out there. He's I tell my friends all the time, he's my favorite hockey player to watch. He's just a great all around guy, and it's been a pleasure playing with him.
I think a lot of people would say the same thing about you, Braydon, wanting to have a beer with. But I also got to ask you about your goalie. Andrei Vasilevsky played every single minute of the playoffs. And we just had Peter Labardius on here before you saying he thinks it's going to take a 2-goalie system in the next season because it's going to be condensed. That's something for what Vasilevsky did. That's almost rare. Can you talk about your goalie?
Well, if anybody can do it, it'd be him. We've been in Tampa. We've been appreciating him for a long time. He's one of those guys that is in unreal shape. He's got his legs are his legs are huge. He's in unreal. He's been training to do this his whole life. When a guy's sitting there and he's stretching and he's got his leg beside his head and his legs are as big as tree trunks, you're just kind of like marveling at the specimen that he is, and him as well. Like I've talked about our team growing, and he's grown as a goaltender, and his mental makeup. The physical skills have always been there, but he's really honed in, and his run was unreal, and we don't get anywhere without that guy.
Braydon, last one for you. You talked about the southwest corner of the province, which we're particularly fond of, and I think of Shaunavon specifically, Sean Van Allen, Frontier, our buddy Rhett Warner, and certainly Swift Currents produced a few. What's special about that place when it comes to hockey, and who would you credit to, furthering your career, getting to Portland and into the NHL? What's special about that area?
Well, I think you look, every small town around there has a rink, and you grow up with a group of friends that love hockey, and my friends still love hockey, and I just every day it's just I can't imagine not having hockey in my life. But you got a group of parents and people that care, and they take care of these rinks, and they put these leagues and teams together, and dedicate their time. And for me, I was lucky. I lived in town, and I got to live. I was four or five houses away from the rink, so I grew up a rink rat. I was there all the time, and there's no substitute for that small town competitiveness and exposure to hockey all the time. And I've been lucky as I'm coming up. You mentioned some of those guys. Like I idolized Sean Van Allen. I remember caddying at his golf tournament in Shaunavon, and when I got to meet Rhett Warner when we were training in Calgary one summer, and Haley Wickenheiser coming to our school and bringing her gold medals. It's just you just all of a sudden you see like, hey man, like you work hard and you have fun with this, and you put in the time. It's the sky's the limit, even if you're from this place. So. That's a small place like Shaunavon or Frontier or Climax or Gull Lake or any of those towns. It was just a pleasure growing up there.
Well, I don't know if you heard, but there was a record number of kids from the Swift Current area, about a 90-mile radius, that went in the WHL draft and the SJHL draft, more than ever. So it continues, Braydon, and now they're aspiring to you. That's a pretty cool story. Although it's got me upset. Let them play! That's my pet peeve on the fact that we don't have those rinks open right now. But Braydon, thank you for the visit. I'll say congratulations again, Stanley Cup champion. I can't wait until you get home safely and bring it with you. But thanks for the time today.
Really appreciate you having me on the show. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Braydon Coburn of the Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.